Austrian Grand Prix. Usual deal, 3 segments to this, a few questions from me at the top. We will then go to the broadcasters and then the print media. And the guys next to me need very little introduction, but if we've got anyone new watching, we have Yuki Tsunoda, closest to me, then Zhou Guanyu, Logan Sargeant, Charles Leclerc, and Max Verstappen is running a little bit late and will join us at some point. So, Charles, why don't we start with you? Good to see you again. Now, let's talk about performance, first of all. Spain was better than Canada, but how much more performance do you need from your car to challenge for the win this weekend?
Well, I guess the gap that there was from us to pole position, which was 2 or 3 tenths in Barcelona. However, I feel like the potential is in the car. We just need to optimize our package and then we'll be back to where we want. We didn't do that in Montreal, especially with tires, and the conditions were a bit outside of our operating window. And then in Barcelona, we were just not fast enough. So, but again, the preparation on the simulator for this track went well, so I felt confident we'll be back in the fight.
This is a fast track, but it's got short radius corners on the whole. Do you think that will help you?
Yeah, we've been struggling mostly with long, slow speed corners, which here they are a little bit less. So that's a good sign for us. But we're also working on that in order to have a better car in those corners, which I think we've seen some good steps forward in the last few races. However, we were struggling then in other corners. So we've just got to put everything together, but we are working on it, and I'm confident it will be fine this weekend.
Look, Charles, final one from me for now is there's been changes to the track limits here. Specifically, gravel is now being used to sort of define the edge of the track. What are your thoughts on that? I think you haven't done a track court yet, but I would love you just to tell us what you think in principle of what you've heard about the changes.
I mean, it's interesting. I've seen pictures. It's these 2 corners were quite tricky already before the gravel trap that we have now in those corners in turn 9 and 10. But I guess that now is pretty clear where the track limit is, and we won't have this type of problems anymore, which is a good thing. But again, I've still got to drive the track to tell you exactly what I think of it. But on paper, it looks positive.
Right, thank you, Charles. Logan, let's come to you next. Throw it back to Spain, first of all. It was a frustrating race for you and for Williams, but I think there was no surprises there. Is that the case?
Yeah, I mean, Spain's always been a tricky race for us, but I'd be lying if I said it probably wasn't one of the most painful ones we've had in the past 18 months. So I guess some understanding to do there of what exactly went wrong on the car, what was causing the lack of performance, but even more painful for me, the bits that were brought to the car were underperforming and not delivering the expected load of downforce. So yeah, we'll try and get that fixed, but that didn't help things either.
What does all that mean for this weekend in Austria?
Well, unfortunately, it's a sprint race, so not much time to figure things out, not much time to experiment, try to figure out what's going on my side, in terms of bringing the package back to where it should be. So we've changed some bits. We're going to do our best to figure it out. But yeah, I don't expect everything's going to turn around. But I think this track as a whole should suit us much better than Barcelona.
Logan, can we talk about your own performance now? Because I feel Barcelona aside, you're enjoying a good run of form at the moment. In Monaco, you qualified ahead of a Red Bull. In Canada, what were you, just 1,000th behind Alonso or something like that? Do you feel that you're driving the best you have in Formula One so far?
Yeah, definitely. I think it's been a good string of races. It's just been, difficult as a whole. The team's been doing their best to bring the updates to both cars, but it's definitely taken some time. And I feel like generally been doing a pretty good job with, what I've been given so far. So just try to keep that up and hopefully we can, level it out soon.
The final one from me. There's been a bit of movement in the driver market today. How are things shaping up for you for 2025?
Yeah, I mean, at the moment, I'm just, focusing on my job, doing the best I can to make the most of what I have underneath me. And, yeah, options are open.
All right, look, best of luck this weekend. Thank you. Zhou, let's come to you now. We saw a much better qualifying performance from you in Spain. Now, both cars were running new parts, but you were also running an old chassis. What made the difference for you?
I mean, I feel like it's the chassis. I mean, you know, we had a new one put in the car from Imola, and for me, of course, we have to understand the certain stand with the different layout on the tracks. You know, Imola, Monaco, Montreal, super bumpy. I don't think it's strength with this year's car, but mainly on my side, I was very lost before Spain, just because I wasn't able to push the car around. You know, in the weekend I had in Canada, everything I do, every movement, I just really felt has a much bigger impact on the balance and also on the driving side. So we decided to change everything back to the old one, and yeah, seems to be picking up the performance we should be, or having the, you know, the grip, the confidence that I have with this car. So yeah, really happy to see the progress went into the right direction, and then yeah, looking forward of course to these tracks. I think could be suitable a little bit better for this year's car.
Zhou, it's interesting because we saw Daniel Ricciardo earlier in the year revert back to a different chassis. What kind of a feeling were you getting from the old chassis that you were trying to recreate in Barcelona?
I mean, these days, you know, with this new generation cars, it's very sensitive on everything you have. And for me, the main, you know, the issues or the places I was really struggling was mainly that I feel the bumps very aggressive and very harshness when I take them. So when you go to a track, super bumpy surface, it's very difficult for me to have the confidence to push on the braking, and also to have the car that's throwing into the corners. And that's where I was mainly lacking, you know, just that early part of the braking into the corner, that you're missing a lot of grip and potential. So yeah, it seems to be like we need to do further investigate on the ones that's been put on for the recent races. But it's clear that we're back to, let's say, the format, the performance where the car should be, which is a very promising or positive step to be taking from.
All right, well, look, good luck this weekend. Just throwing it forward to 2025, are you clear in your mind what you want to do next year?
Yeah, I mean, I want to stay here, it's very clear, but of course we're talking to different options, and as well as with Sauber, and yeah, nothing has been decided. Like, it's very easy to say, you know, we're all waiting for what Carlos wanted to decide in the end of the day, but hopefully he can make his decision sooner, and then I think that will just turn around a lot the driver market. But before that, I think you know, the guys who still haven't signed doesn't really can give any clear answer or direction where they want to. But we're talking, and there's options, but we need to wait and see.
All right, good luck with that. Thank you. Yuki, let's come to you now. Now, explain Barcelona to us if you could, because the team brought a lot of upgrades there, and I think it's fair to say they didn't work as you were hoping. What were the issues?
Well, I hope I have a clear explanation into this week, but obviously teams dig into that problem very hard, and we still see what we wanted to see on the data after the race, but just somehow it's not performing well. Yeah, we saw a couple of things that might cause it, but there's no still clear answer. So yeah, that's a bit mystery for us, and obviously a couple of things that we could done better as a setup side, whatever. But yeah, it's not, still doesn't explain why we lost as much as that compared to previous races.
It's a sprint weekend. Everything is condensed here. Are you going to run the new parts again here, or are you reverting back to the old spec car?
So we're gonna test for sure as a team across the cars, and even though we knew that it's gonna be a sprint qualifying race, we wanted to know these answers as soon as possible with comparing the cars, and it's not like old or new and everything. We're still bringing some new parts into this week, so it's kind of mixed between all of them. But yeah, should be end of this week. We know the answer, what was causing, and what's the direction we should take in the future.
All right, look, and final one from me, Yuki. There's a lot of speculation as to who your teammate is going to be in 2025. What would you rather, youth or experience?
Both.
I think you're sitting on the fence there, Yuki. Right, look, let's open this to the floor. Let's go to the broadcasters while we're still waiting for Max Verstappen, of course. Who's got our first question? Please put your hand up. Yeah, please.
Nelson Valkenburg, Viaplay, for everybody but Charles, because he already answered the question. With the new track limit situation in turn 9 and 10, are you guys happy with it? And what problems do you guys foresee for the three of you?
Who'd like to start? Logan.
Well, I think it's always tricky here. I don't think it'll completely solve it, to be honest. I mean, I managed to do track limits in Imola, turn 9, which is almost impossible. So if I can do it there, I think it's still possible to do here, and I would like to see a way in the future where it's completely eliminated with the design of the track. I think there's always opportunity to do it, and there's no reason for that.
Joe?
Yeah, I mean, I think there will be still track limit for sure, but a nicer way that you probably understanding you're out if you touch the gravel. But I think, you know, there's certain tracks every driver is quite happy. For example, the like last corner in Shanghai, that's the curb is kind of extended a little bit higher, so all the people not forced to use more than the track limit. I think these are applying more in other tracks now, but here is definitely difficult because obviously you have like bikes or this people running here, so it's always a bit tricky. But let's see. I think yeah, still will be a difficult one to judge.
Yeah, it's good modification, but hopefully it won't be like a monster second chicane that all the gravels come into the racetrack and, you know, increasing chance of the puncture. That's it. But other than that, hopefully it's good.
All right. Thanks all. Anyone up? Broadcasters? Yes. Rachel, please.
Rachel Brooks, Sky Sports F1. It's one for Charles. Charles, when we spoke after the race in Barcelona, you sort of intimated that the contact with Carlos at the start of the race had cost the team some points. And when I spoke to him, he was adamant that he did nothing wrong. Can I ask what sort of where you two are at now, what conversations have been had with you and the team, and if you've got any concerns for your relationship going forward?
For our relationship, not at all, just because we came back on the same plane Sunday night, and it was a matter of seeing each other, and yeah, and it's all good. We had a discussion, as always, and I think the issue always seems huge from outside, but then between us, we know each other so well since so many years that we know that after the race there's tension. We are both in the heat of the moment disappointed with each other, and then we speak together and all is good. So I have absolutely no I'm not worried at all for our relationship going forward. And yeah, it's just been an event and a race where it was a bit more tense, which happened in the past, and it may be not the last time, but all the time we've managed that by speaking to each other, and then it's all good going forward, and it's just the same. So I'm not worried at all.
Thank you, Charles. Next one, please. Yeah, Diego.
Diego Mejia, Fox Sports Mexico. To Yuki, just following up on what you just said about the gravel coming on the track, is it only the punctures, or is it a distractor when somebody in front of you runs wide and gets the gravel on the track? Does it change the grip when you're going there?
Yeah, I think so, especially in qualifying. When someone drive on the gravel and the gravel comes into the track, and for sure compromise coming corner, which will be last corner, which is still high-speed corner, and you still need a good rear grip. So that's the only thing. One thing probably you can concern. Also, the gravel might also cause the floor damage as well. So but speed difference between Monza and here is quite a lot different. So might not happen, but if that happens, it's pretty hard to avoid that gravel. Yeah.
Thank you, Yuki. Next one, please.
Hello.
Max, welcome. Far away with your question,
Hello.
then I'll come to Max.
Panos Etaneris from Antenna TV Greece. A question for Charles. We saw a few days earlier you carried the Olympic torch back in your home country. How important was that moment for you? And maybe there was in the past the talk about bringing motorsports into the Olympic. If that would happen in the future at some point, how would it feel to represent your country there?
I mean, it was a huge honor for me to be able to carry the Olympic torch, especially in my home country in Monaco. So it was definitely a very special moment. It would be great to have motorsport at the Olympics. However, I think it's a bit more difficult to organize than other sports because obviously we are all driving for different constructors with different cars in Formula One, and to be able to have all the same car, you will have to choose obviously which route you want to go to, what downforce, what horsepower and everything, but it's definitely possible, and I would love to represent Monaco. I'm very proud of being from Monaco. We are very few Monegasques, and it feels good to be representing such a small but beautiful country. So I would love to, but I don't know if there are any plans of that anytime soon.
Thanks, Charles. Let's bring in Max now. Good to see you, Max. Look, what about motorsport as an Olympic sport? What do you think of that?
Nah, not for me. It's too much, just car related. I don't know. It's probably also with racing. You didn't grow up in that kind of Olympic environment. It's just not for me, to be honest. I don't feel like it. I don't think we belong at the Olympic stage. And that's fine because we have our own championship, which I think is really well received. And I enjoy watching the Olympic Games in front of my TV.
All right, well, let's bring it on to this weekend. How do you see the lay of the land here?
Nice weather, good food. Home Grand Prix for us as well, which I think is always very nice. And yeah, the performance side of things, the sprint weekend always a bit more difficult, a bit more tricky, I think, for everyone to get everything right. But that's fine. It's a different challenge, and we'll try to do the best we can.
And Max, as the field closes up to you, what kind of reaction are you seeing from Red Bull Racing?
We are pushing as hard as we can, of course, to keep on improving. So that's what we'll try to do, now in the coming races, which I think are, of course, very important to see where we're at.
All right, and final one from me. We've discussed the track changes with the gravel on the outside of 9 and 10, for example. The others have spoken about it. Can we just get your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, in general, of course, it's a great track to drive. I always enjoyed it a lot, and especially the high-speed corners around here. They're a lot of fun. But, of course, with the layer that we have, with the runoffs, of course, naturally behind it, we're always talking about track limits. And it's a bit of a problem as well where, throughout the lap, the tires are overheating, the front tires are getting really hot, so you naturally just understeer wide. And sometimes it happens already on the entry of the corner that, the outcome on the exit is one of few millimeters, which then gives you a track penalty, track limit violation. And I just hope maybe with the gravel that it will stop that a little bit. I mean, naturally you have to be a bit more careful and be a bit more precise. So we'll see if it's the right way. I mean, we also try. I think no one has a clear solution at the moment. What is best? Of course, we have to share the track also with MotoGP, for example, and stuff, and other kind of categories. It's a bit tricky to, at the moment, come up, I think, with the best solution around here.
Do you feel it worked in Shanghai when something similar was done there?
Yeah, but of course in Shanghai, I mean, some corners, they were maybe have one fast corner, but then quite a few slow corners. So it's easier, I find, to judge the limit than here in the last sector.